to get the YouTube to work. There it goes. Good morning, everyone, over there on YouTube land and also in Facebook. It's Monday morning meditation. I'll turn goes by every day. Maybe I'll turn the birds back up here for a minute. Hear the rain falling outside. I was listening to an Islamic scholar the other day on NPR being interviewed. And he reminded me that in Islam, there's a word that translates as heartful meditation. I can't tell you what the word is because I don't recall, but heartful meditation. Hey, Russell. Heartful meditation, rather than mindful meditation, is the practice that I guess I'm teaching. I didn't really intend to become a meditation teacher, but here I am. I intended only to be a practitioner. That's all I've ever been after. And I chose not to teach any sort of spirituality in great depth for most of my life because, hey, Trey, good morning, Ellen, because, hey, Tim, hi, Jennifer, because I wasn't ready, I didn't think, for most of my life. I'm going to give a little sentence here from Thomas Keating, who was the abbot who ran the monastery that began the practice of centering prayer, having studied with Sasaki Roshi and Maharishi Mahayogi and their own traditional Trappist techniques. And Thomas Keating, Father Thomas Keating, who wrote Open Mind, Open Heart, in that book he says, silence is God's first language. Everything else is poor translation. Silence is God's first language. Everything else is a poor translation. Our attempts here in our practice is to sit in silence. Hi, Rob. Is to sit in silence. Rob White over there in Wales. To sit in silence. Good morning, Lois. Is to sit in silence and to self-empty. Hey, Anthony. To self-empty ourselves, to allow more room for the presence of the holy and the divine. That's really what this is all about. So the practice, as I've been going over with you, is very simple. You sit in a chair and on a zafu and a zubaton, and if you don't know what those are, you can look them up. They're pillows and futons for meditation, or a meditation stool. But basically, you want your spine straight, you want your muscles relaxed. You can put your hands on your lap or fold them in a Zen style. See how that goes? You touch your thumb against, you sit it down in your lap and you touch your thumb to your belly button. And it's a technique to pay attention. And when your thumbs drift away from your belly button, then you're not paying attention. You got to bring your thumbs back to your belly button. I use that when I'm sitting on my zubaton. I keep my hands flat on my lap. When I'm not, my feet are flat on the floor. My knees are at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to shut off the birds in a minute. I've got my phone shut off. I normally meditate in the dark so that I eliminate as many senses as I possibly can. That helps me with my meditation. I keep my spine straight. I breathe nasally into my diaphragm, and I carry my prayer word, which is Jesus, in one syllable down and one syllable up. And I focus my mind on my third eye. And I keep my mind focused. This is the frontal lobe, and I keep my mind as breathing in and out of my frontal lobe. And one of the things that can happen is that it opens. And suddenly you have an extra perception. Oftentimes, the first thing you see is what's called, variously called the blue pearl or the indigo pearl. It's like a round circle or an eye, and it leads into wisdom. This opens up into wisdom. So, do you have any comments or questions this morning before we begin? Repeat your word over and over. Keep going back to it. Don't ever give up at it. The whole practice is self-emptying and to enter into silence, the place where the ego has no control. Your ego, when the language isn't running in your head, when you can't tell yourself stories about who you are or what your life is all about, when you're in the place of quietude, that's the silence where God speaks. Heartful meditation Good morning, Constance. Heartful meditation is the aim is the divine. And you get all the benefits of mindful meditation because the technique is essentially the same, with the exception of you see a green, Tom sees a green dot. Well, sometimes it's green, I guess. Um, Good morning, Jennifer, from down under, from OZ, Australia. Um, the practice of mindful meditation is very similar to heartful meditation. The aim is slightly different. Heartful meditation aims at the divine, aims at the source of all being, aims at the holy. And as I mentioned a moment ago, uh, Thomas Keating, he wrote, silence is God's first language, all else is poor translation. So this practice, when we practice it together, um, we when we practice it together, we empower each other in our practice. And the first time I experienced that was at Thomas Keating's monastery in St. Joseph's Abbey outside of Worcester, Massachusetts, when I was on a Zazen retreat as an undergraduate. Good morning, Linda. We were sitting in a room together for 3 days of silence, and we discovered that sometimes we all had the same inner vision. We suddenly discovered that we were communicating telepathically, but not with language, but with image. Hi, Wendy. Wendy says, do you think the third eye opens on its own, or will it open? I think it opens through focusing on it, and it opens of its own accord when you focus on it. And that's the same thing about the practice of seeking heaven within. It's to quiet the mind down. There's no action here. There's no sort of trying to make something happen. There's sitting in observation by putting our mental focus here, by staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. We are carving away at it and carving away at it, but it opens of its own accord. I have not ever encountered any way that I can push any of these open. And I've been working all of my chakras. I focus here, but I've then focus here on other days, and I focus in my heart, and I focus on all of my chakras, and I try to link them together, and I run between them, and I run out to my palms. But this is the beginning place, and in no case did I ever try to pop them open with the force of my will. I'm only trying to observe their space, because they open on their own like an unfolding flower. You can force a bud open by putting it, how do you force a bud open? You cut it off the plant, and you put it in water, and you bring it inside your house in a warm space, and it blooms before it would have bloomed outside. You can force it open. But that's what all this technique does. You force it open by observing. You force it open by focusing on your breath and putting your mind in that place. You can't push it open. At least I haven't been able to. I mean, maybe others do, but that's not been my experience. In any case, it's 10 minutes after, and we'll meditate for about 20 minutes or so. And I've got my little bowl here, and maybe we'll begin with this and we'll end with this. But I'll bring you into this a little bit. Hi, Jonathan and Joelle. They had to feed the chickens over there in Nova Scotia, across the Great Gulf of Maine. I'll begin by bringing you into it a little bit. Remember to calm yourself. Remember to keep focus on your word. When your mind wanders, no matter where it goes, bring it back to your prayer. Don't chase away the thoughts. Don't chase away what's going on inside your mind. Always come back to your prayer. Always come back to your prayer. 1,000,000 times over your lifetime. That's where the power of this lies, is in eliminating the false narrative. And the false narrative arises from the false self, which is the ego self. Not false as in bad, but false as in not the unitive state of being, not the oneness of all. The ego keeps in place the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. And we could talk about healing at the end if someone reminds me. We can talk a little bit about that, but I'd like to get going here. So if you would all close your eyes, I'll start with a little bell here. If you would all close your eyes, I'll turn down the outside noise. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Relax your muscles. Relax. Begin repeating your prayer gently, not grasping at it. Heartful meditation is not grasping. Go back to your prayer. I'll see you in 20 minutes or so. Hello, everyone. It's been about 20 minutes or so, a little more than that. Welcome back. Slowly open your eyes. Take a breath. Meditation is not about grasping at things, it's about sitting with your prayer. Heartful meditation is about looking at places inside yourself. And if you have just a moment of silence in the midst of a 20-minute meditation, it's a blessing. Every time you breathe, you have to come back to your word because your mind wanders. That's okay. Just keep coming back over and over again and observe. As for the pushing open the third eye, I do breathe through, out my third eye. But I don't push against anything. I just breathe out through it with my focus. And I don't grasp at God. I don't grasp at peace. As soon as you grasp at peace or grasp at opening the door, you're out. Because that's the will of the ego. Just sit with it and let it open on its own. Let the peace come on its own. It's an effort of doing and not doing. You're doing your practice, but you're not trying to make God present to you. Let that flow come on your own. Let the flow come on its own. Hey, Brian, Annette, Kat. Yeah, Tom, some days the head is just more cluttered than others. That's true. That happens to me too. And I put it down for today and I pick it up again tomorrow. Hey, Anthony. Yeah, beautiful way to start the day. Every day is like that. Any comments or questions this morning? In your practice this week, as you practice each day, as you breathe in, wait a half a beat at the bottom of your belly with the breath, and then wait a half a beat before you inhale again. So when your belly is full of air, stop a half a moment before you exhale. And when you are fully exhaled, stop a half a moment before you inhale. And in this way, you'll intensify your practice because you'll add another layer of mental focus concentration. Thanks for coming, Mary and Jennifer. Thanks for coming, everybody. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Contact me, say hello. Hey, Kathy, I find myself seeing through my third eye white light. Yeah, why not? Often it's called the indigo pearl or the blue pearl, but as long as you're not staring at it with intent and just letting it be there in front of you, it'll make it easier for you. Lizzie, is it okay to forget to say the prayer? I sometimes worry about forgetting to say it. No, the idea here is that as you go deeper into your prayer, the prayer falls away because you don't really need it. It's a tool to get to the place of peace, and it can fall away, and you can simply observe your breath. Much of my practice nowadays is just observing my breath. I begin with my prayer word, my meditation for my heartful meditation, and I let the word come up and go down in my breath and ride it up, and then it just falls away. And then I just observe my breath. So don't worry about that. That's a good thing. Lizzie, is it okay? Yep. Jonathan White, thank you. Powerful. Appreciate this so much. Infinite love. Joelle. Lizzie says, okay. Yeah, infinite love. You're welcome, Kathy. Any other comments or questions? We're live streaming in YouTube and in 2 locations on Facebook, and I want to apologize to the YouTube people. I've had some tech issues with YouTube this week, and I will be back again on Wednesday for meditation. Tweet, tweet, says Kathy. We'll be back again with meditation on Wednesday, and also on Sunday next week, uh, we'll be back again live streaming my Sunday morning chat, which I'm calling, for the time being, Not Church. And so I'll see you here and there. And a reminder that on Sunday at 10:30, there will be a discussion group on meditation, pardon me, on mysticism, your mystical experience. Thanks, Peter, says Anthony. Janet's book seemed like an evolution of knowing. Janet who, Anthony? Sorry. I'll be sending out an email, a repeat email. I sent one out yesterday. I'm still getting my systems in order, and I'll send a new email out today with the links for this week. So, not church sounds perfect. Thanks, Lizzie. That's kind of what I'm thinking. The opposite of. I realized that I'm a counterculture person from the moment that I came back. I was kind of counterculture before I died, but afterwards I came back as a heretic. So, anyway, I'm going to say fare thee well, everybody. Maybe see you here on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Peace, love, and I like to say Jah Rastafari. God is in you. I don't know that that's what it means, but that's what I think it means. So, anyway, fare thee well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.